Hi, my name is Betsy Coe. If you're watching this video, you're probably a middle school flutist in Illinois getting ready to audition for ILMEA's Junior District Band. Good for you. This year we have brand new etudes written by composer Elaine Fine. She's also a flutist, so she knows how to write very well for our instrument. What you just heard was the Lyrical Etude. Now, let's have a quick lesson on this pretty etude so that you can give your best performance on it. When we get a new piece of music, one of our first questions usually is, how fast should I play it? Keep in mind that you're going to have a chance to show off your technique and tonguing in the second etude. Pick a nice gentle tempo for this so that we can appreciate your beautiful tone. I would suggest a quarter note pulse somewhere between 80 and 100. My performance was at 88. Don't forget to practice with your metronome. As wind players, breathing is the gas that makes our cars run. That's why I wore my Breathe shirt when I performed this etude for you. Here are some tips on where to breathe in this etude for a musical performance. Follow along on screen where you'll see my suggestions marked in red. First of all, it makes a lovely musical impression to do the first 4 bars in one breath. If that's not possible for you, then you can breathe after the quarter note D in measure 2. Just try and make the breath small and inconspicuous. After that, you can breathe in all the quarter note rests, and then in measure 10, breathe after the dotted C, then mark a breath after the G in 14. Now, the next tip is a place not to breathe. A lot of us like to breathe on bar lines, and sometimes that's a great place for a breath. But I want you to put an X over the bar line between measure 18 and 19, like I did in my music. You just need to go one note further and wait until after the G that starts measure 19, and then take your breath. That way you will complete the phrase and will feel musically satisfied. Finally, breathe after the low E flat in measure 21. As for counting, you'll want to be sure that you're holding the ties for the right amount of time. The rhythm of a half note tied to an eighth note happens several times during this piece. You'll be most accurate if you think eighth notes during the half note. Do a little math with me here. There are 4 eighth notes in a half note. And then if it's tied to another eighth note, that gives a total of 5 eighth notes. If you think 1 and 2 and 3, that will get you through the tie in time. Some of you might be used to bopping it out in band, and that is another great way to practice this piece. For example, this etude gives us some extra tuning challenges, especially with the sudden dynamic changes that we have to make throughout the piece. For example, looking at the end of the first line, we end with a mezzo forte high F, and then we start the second line with a piano A flat. As many of you already know, when we are loud, we tend to play sharper, and when we are soft, we tend to play flatter. The best way to work on this is to take the 2 pitches in question and play them with your tuner. First, don't worry about dynamics. Just play them at a comfortable mezzo forte dynamic. And then, once you have control of the tuning there, then you can add in the forte and piano aspects. Take extra care with the octave G at the very end. Make sure that that one is in tune. Finally, a few last thoughts about this etude. What key is it in? The key signature is 2 flats, which makes us think of either B flat major or G minor. But there's a really strong feeling of C minor in the music, and sure enough, when we cadence at the end, it is in C minor. You might also be wondering what dynamic to use at the very beginning. Since we have a second phrase in measure 5 that's marked mezzo forte, it's nice to start the piece at a mezzo piano so that you can make a contrast between the first and second phrase. Finally, I was really excited to find that Miss Fine had written a nice descending chromatic line into the music in measure 5 through 10. If you look at the downbeats of those bars, you're going to see B flat leading to A flat, G, G flat, and F. So try and think of that set of measures as one phrase so that your listener will notice that part of the music as well. I hope I've given you some good thoughts and tips for preparing for your audition. Best of luck.